Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the VGC Battle League's standard season. I forgot what number season it was.
I resent this intro. I am not a gentleman.
You're not a big fan of the good old Kyle baseball style introduction.
Well, it's just, you know, people keep welcoming the gentleman, but what about for absolute pricks and bastards like myself? We've got nowhere to go.
Including under ladies.
We've got nowhere to go, you know?
There's nowhere to go.
I said I'm a prick and a bastard. You said you were introducing me under the ladies. I said I'm a prick and a bastard. I'm not as bad as a lady. Come on.
Yeah. That's true. That's true. Sorry, I apologize.
Yeah, you know.
Look, I just am incapable of not regurgitating other YouTubers' intros. I'm sorry. But ladies and gentlemen, I am mentioning the amazing, your host today, as well as the draftist of the team, and here we have a person who is a different type of ist, the one and only Keith Sheldon.
Floodcore. And you know, I am an ist.
A few of them
would be a feminist. I'd be a feminist.
Yeah, anti-feminist. He was one of those people who made like the videos on YouTube making fun of like pink-haired kids on college campuses.
All I'm saying is, remember that one lady that cried when like Trump was reinstated? That's been my profile picture for 20 years. You know, that's just how it is.
20 years.
20 years. Yeah, I just, you know, look, it's so funny. The word triggered is the funniest thing in the English language. Yeah.
Okay.
So, what are we doing?
You guys see here, this is the Bullhawk prep dock, which, as fabulous source of the league, Samax says, is the, if you're not using the Bullhawk prep dock, you're basically shooting yourself in the leg. And I'm pretty sure that's specifically meant to be a jab at every other person who makes prep docks, and, you know, if it's not the Bullhawk one, apparently it's just terrible, and every single person who creates these other ones and puts their labor and effort into it should honestly just, you know, I don't know, I don't really know what the implication was there, but it seemed like a very strongly worded message to send. But I'm not sure I personally agree with
I think he's threatening you. That sounded like a threat, if anything.
It did. Riz should fear for his life.
Yeah.
Alright, and the immortal thing of Riz and the eternal, that's real funny Andrew image that I post every time he does something that's real funny. We will do the... My brain is dying. So I decided to nickname my Pokemon in this league after the different cast members who've like appeared a couple times in the epic rap battles of history, because they're still going. They made a battle like 8 months ago. I think we're expecting another one around this.
News to me.
I think we're expecting one in Halloween.
I haven't watched them in 8 years.
Yeah. So yeah, that's definitely the thing. They're very current and relevant. They made a reference. They did a rap battle with Thanos. It's surprisingly good. I don't really know why. But yeah, so I decided to just instead of making a slideshow, use the Bullhawk prep doc and the drafting thing and show what moves I look out for over here. Obviously this is not an exhaustive list of moves that I look out for, but these are the ones that I actually asked the doc to look out for me, because I am not very smart and would need it to do it. So this format of this particular league was the so-called Danny Plan Part 2, where every mon that came to 2 or more games last season was illegal, it was banned, and it was verboten. So the power level is lower, but not like a weird low tier low, where you still have all of like the standard mid tiers coming back. It actually limits the amount of mons that a lot of people may wind up being used to running and bringing to a lot of games that they might have as their crotch Pokemon are not able to come back. Also, it's got 2 divs, which I think is more than normal, because they can break down to 4 conferences of 8 and you play everyone else in your conference.
That is a very interesting way of doing a ban list, because usually it's just like, oh,
yeah, it's more
here's the top 20 Pokemon. Here's everything, 20. You know.
Yeah.
Here's everything like that's, you know, cost more than 10 points usually is gone.
Yeah.
So that's an interesting one, because it also gets rid of just like the solid workhorse mid tiers and the cheap.
I think the term is
support
silent
mid-tiers.
workhorse, not solid workhorse.
Solid workhorse is it's definitely a better phrase.
I think that you just misheard the phrase silent workhorse.
Solid workhorse is definitely a thing.
I think you've just it would just be called a workhorse, right? If it was like workhorse expression. So I see versions of the standard workhorse, of the silent workhorse. I'm not seeing these other this solid variation.
I mean, to be honest, if your workhorse isn't solid, that's not a great workhorse.
Look, you're just out here discriminating against other forms of matter. I personally don't agree with it. But yeah, so basically, what was the solid workhorse I went for this season? So I was picked 12 of 16. It's really annoying. I was like 13 in another league and 12 in another league and like 15th of 16 in one of them. Wow, it's crazy. So the first mod I went for is the Kimmy Gatewood, being the only female actor to have reprised a role in Epigraph Battles of History. Yeah, it's Latias here. Latias is really solid. I don't think it has all of... No, I think it does have all of the resistance list. I should set this format to Gala, because it does exist, with like the different just Gala dex moves. I forgot to do that first, because I'm not very smart. Yeah, so Latias here, one of the main things is it's strong. Tailwind is a huge asset. Dual screens is nice. Fast Icy Wind is nice. And I also really like that in a format with item clause, it's got Soldier, which means it's rarely going to be competing for an item slot with another one of the Pokemon on your team.
It's also just probably a decent, like, weakness policy scam win.
There's no max in this format, so I wouldn't really run weakness policy.
It's still, because it's pretty bulky, it's probably honestly, like, I think it's probably crazy that it wasn't, like, used twice, because it's just a very, like, last time, because it was just a very good mod. Yeah. It just wasn't drafted. That was why. Solid, really good Pokemon for VGC, and can also
it's a pretty solid support mod. It's got good damage output, and it's got a really solid, like a really nice defensive matchup and a lot of stuff. So after this, I decided that I wanted to get a mon that seemed underpriced to me, so I wasn't rushing. It was 95 points, which is the budget there, and I've got like the notes here. So I've decided to pick up a mon that I thought was incredibly good damage output for its price.
Can I guess what the
You
mod is?
literally have it on the list that you have open in front of you, so no.
No, I can't read.
I don't believe you, because there's a picture there too.
Read. I'm going to guess it is Galarian Stunfisk.
Sadly, it was not Galarian Stunfisk, that which I thought was actually overpriced in this one. It was actually one of your favorite Pokemon that you brought up basically without any like opening statement earlier a couple times today. Lycanroc Dusk. I don't really know why he's licking rocks, but he was at 8 points, and I think that its damage output is phenomenal for a mon that was at 8 points.
To be honest, I spend most of my time bringing up Lycanroc Dusk. It's a stupidly good Pokemon. I mean, look, there is the concern that it is literally the same speed tier as Latias, so it is 2 picks in and you've congested it already.
Look, Lycanroc Midnight was... Sorry, not Lycanroc. Lycanroc, the regular one, the base form one, wasn't legal, so I couldn't get a mon that was faster than Latias, so I just went for the same speed.
This one is just, it's a very strong, it's just a stupidly strong Pokemon, like.
Yeah.
Granted, a lot of its strengths come from Tough Claws, and if you're running Rock Slide, it doesn't get that boost.
Yeah.
But just like its single target. I don't
really intend on running Rock Slide that much.
Yeah, and also its single target damage is just crazy.
Rock Slide,
like, especially this gen, getting CC,
Play rough.
It's play rough, like it can very easily just delete Pokemon, and then it's got very, very strong priority with Soul Rock.
There are a disturbing amount of rock resists that crumpled to Sword Stance Stone Edge. I am well known for being a hater on spread moves in a lot of situations. I think Rock Slide especially is the spread move that most fits my description, where you're not really running Rock Slide for the damage output as much as you're running it for the chance of flinch, which is respectable, but I don't think it's a reasonable way to use someone like Duskro. because getting a KO is better than getting a flinch in most situations. And if I have a situation where I want to get a flinch instead of a KO, I can always just run Rock Slide. But Rock is a really solid physically offensive type because it doesn't just have access to Stone Edge and Rock Slide, it also has access to Rock Blast, it also has access to Rock Tomb, which are both pretty solid things, as well as I think that there are very few good rock resists. I think there's even like a draft that just has 0 rock resists, which is really nice for Lycanroc Dusk.
It's not like this Pokemon cares that much about steel types or whatever. It's got CC. Like there's very...
Or fighting types because it's got Psychic Fangs. And then ground types, if any of them have a secondary weakness it can exploit, and that's not going to be great.
Does it have Aqua Tail? I don't remember. Maybe it doesn't.
I don't believe it does. Garchomp does, but I don't think this does.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I just think this mon's really strong. It's also named Wax after the person who was like just also a musician, and I think he played. Sorry, I mean Kimmy Gatewood was Marilyn Monroe, and then Hillary Clinton, and Wax was Quentin Tarantino, and then Freddy Krueger. I think both of Wax's battles were after you stopped watching.
Yes, this is correct.
But you were still around for the first one of Latias's, at least.
Yeah, I remember one line from the Marilyn Monroe.
Which one is it?
Talking about a sandy vagina having a 7-year itch.
Yeah, okay, that was one of the ones I thought it would be.
Yeah.
So
okay.
we finally get to an actual core cast member of the team with one of the most annoying Pokemon to deal with in the history of things.
Yeah, it's
I have been witching about this mon. I do not. Chattle's not even in the format. No, this mon is something that I've been complaining about because I'm playing against it in WPF right now, and it is an absolute nightmare. It is a threat and a menace. I'm pretty sure that if
it's Spider-Man.
I was trying to follow through on the joke more subtly. God damn it. You have to ruin my humor. But yeah, Rabonbi. Look, if he had a twin, they'd probably just fight. You know. So this is Nice Peter, famous for being the YouTube channel that a couple of the ELBs are on, and being bald. Also like Lloyd, who is also bald. Also, what was the other thing?
Just makes the
blue socks
easier to have.
Superman socks. That was the Nice Peter song. Superman socks. I still have no fairy or steel or rock or ghost resist.
Yeah. You have, look, I'll say you have a very fast team. So what Rabonbi does, it does 2 things. It does Tailwind.
No, it doesn't do Tailwind in this format.
Oh, it doesn't? No,
it's in that dex. It's in Gen 7.
Okay, yeah.
It's absolutely obscenely broken in Gen 7. It would not have been.
Well, it has speed swap in this format, which is very cool, Kanye. Unfortunately, you just have fast Pokemon now, so it's doesn't look very helpful, but I'm sure it's going to get helpful.
I had planned like half of my team that I wound up with. I picked up Rabonbi after I decided on like 4 other mons that I wanted, 5 other mons that I wanted. One of which I didn't wind up getting, but the rest of them I did get. I actually had wanted Weavile at this point, but it didn't get back to me. Sneasel didn't get to me in the first round, which was painful. So yeah, that was kind of the realities of it. And then it came back to me, and I had a bunch of mons that were planned that were all like, I think they were all 7 points or lower. And I'm like, I have a lot of points. I should waste them. So I got one of my least favorite Pokemon.
Oh, I know. Oh, one of your least favorite Pokemon. Okay,
yep.
Okay. Let me guess. Pokemon you hate.
Pokemon I hate. Samron's not in the gen, so it's not Samron.
I'm gonna say Blacephalon because I hate it.
Why do you hate Blacephalon? That's rude. Do you just hate clowns? It's very difficult being a clown.
I hate myself, and I am a clown.
You hate horses. Yes. You hate clowns. You hate roosters. You hate. No, it's Thunderous Incarnate. In a non-max format, where it goes from being obscenely broken to just being annoying.
Your speed tiers are looking.
I have real diverse speed tiers. They're great. I have Frank's to T-Wave on Thunderous, which is great for if I'm playing against Pokemon that are faster than Rabonbi.
I mean, it's a defiant Pokemon as well.
It's not, because it's only got Wild Charge and Fly.
That's all it needs, baby.
It's so fucking bad, I hate it.
That's all it needs.
No one would take it from me after
baby.
I'd said I'd made a mistake. It's my Steel Resist.
Yeah, it's a Steel Resist. It's got tank for
Still no Ice Resist at this point, by the way. I'd like to point out that at this point I had 4 mons planned that resisted Ice, of which I got 3. Yeah. So that was why I was not as concerned about my Ice matchup.
It hits decently hard. You know, you still don't have a fair resist or a ghost resist.
Yeah, but like I had a lot of mons. So this was round 4.
Or a rock resist.
I was basically thinking of these like as pairs. So I had Latias, Lycanroc, I had Rabonbi, Thunderous, and then I was coming around for my next pick, and I was really concerned about this mon going, even though it went like round 9 in the other div. Like everything went super late in the other div. I was really confused. I think like Sneasel went like round 2 or 3. And went in the first couple picks in my div. All of the players in my div were a lot scarier, and one of the mons that I wanted had similar value sets to me, which was terrifying, especially because a lot of them are just better players than me, generally speaking, and I regretted training them in the ways of playing well, by which I mean like talking to them a couple times and not doing super well last season.
Thankfully, you managed to get your Pincurchin.
The Pincurchin was very much not legal. The only terrain setters that were legal were Grookey and Galarian Weezing. So all 4 Tapus, Rillaboom, Thwackey, and Pincurchin, and Indeedee, both of them were gone. Were used last season to great effect, some of them. But yeah, no, I actually wound up getting a Fault Boy Pokemon, which I thought was a steal at that price. Pun intended. Agron. So I had decided at the time I wanted to go for Triple Rock. I didn't wind up actually going Triple Rock, so I just have like a Slow Rock and a Fast Rock. But they're both really strong. And that was what mattered. Also, now I have a Rock Resist and a Fairy Resist.
And you also have a very good target for that speed swap or those Thunder Waves. For all the speed control you have so far, you've got something to actually
abuse it.
Control the speed for. Which is very good because Agron hits very hard.
I mean, with its a whole 110 attack. I mean, it's one of the weak mons I have right now, but you know.
I mean, you know, there's this one move. It's called Head Smash.
Yeah. I was gonna say something about Head Smash, spoiling my week 1 prep that I've done, but I'm not going to. I'm not going to. Casey, if you're watching this, I love you.
There's also Heavy Slam.
Completely incompetent at figuring out how to transfer save games. Also, leave a like on the video if you are also incompetent at transferring save games.
I've already left a like.
Thank you. And also comment down below which of my Pokemon. I forgot to say the nickname. This Pokemon is Dan Bull. Dan Bull is probably one of the most popular people who has been on ERB besides like Weird Al, and certainly I think the most popular has been there twice. What?
Is it because he's been Hitler?
No, that was Lloyd. Dan Bull was Winston Churchill, which is basically Hitler, and Hannibal Lecter.
I mean, you know, those are Hitler-like.
No, he wasn't Hannibal Lecter. He was Jack the Ripper. He was the other side of that medal. I just realized he fought Lloyd 5 times. I think I've realized that before and just forgotten because it's not that important. So yeah, that was the first start of the pair, and then after that I decided I just wanted to continue to die to ground moves. I was like, you know what, early on I had a couple ground checks, I might as well just completely forget that there's a reason that you want to check ground types. So I went
so you got Charizard.
Charizard, famous for its bad matchup into ground types. No, I went with another Fairy Resist and Steel check, mostly because this mon was also, I think, underpriced. I think I'd recommended pricing it up and then it didn't wind up happening, or it only went up 1 point. So this is Magma. I had it in my BDSP season here and it was great. I honestly just think it's really strong. I think it is a lot worse in formats where it gets Follow Me, because you have to pay more for it. But when it's underpriced, this one is beautiful, even without Follow Me. Its damage output is just too good, and it's got a decent amount of support options. And who needs more rock? Who needs a better rock matchup? You know, I've never even heard of a rock type. I don't think I've ever seen a rock type. Certainly not on the screen right now. There are no rock types.
Remember, you tried to draft 3 of them. You just wanted them all. I mean, if you've got a bad matchup into a certain Pokemon,
so I'll just say which
but you
Pokemon.
have that Pokemon, you don't have a bad matchup with them.
Exactly.
You just draft all the
there are
rock
two
types.
different draft pools.
There's a flaw in my logic.
Yeah, it'll only matter in playoffs, but half of the teams only matter in playoffs because you play in conferences. Yeah. So the other mod I wanted to draft that I didn't wind up getting was Kabutops, but like on top of Kabutops, I was like, oh, don't want to get Kabutops, don't want to get Omastar, don't want to get Barbaracle, don't want to get Caracosta. Like, you know, there's not exactly a dearth of rock types, especially rock waters, which do hit currently my one rock resist super effectively with their other stab. But you know, Agron and Magma, they were the pair. That said, I have Rhett. I don't remember Rhett's surname, but Rhett of Rhett and Link as Magma. He famously has been like 3 people. I think he was Meriwether Lewis of Lewis and Clark. I think he was
Lewis. He was Lewis C.K. Got it.
Donatello. That's Louis C.K. He was Donatello, the sculptor, and he was one of the Wright brothers. There's no difference between them. They didn't like. I don't think they gave them specific personalities, so I'm just gonna guess that he was Orphle. I was like, I genuinely cannot remember. Oh yeah, sorry. Nice Peter and Lloyd have played a lot of characters over the time. Lloyd specifically has played a close personal friend of our co-host Thunderous, Mr. Smitler. But yeah, beyond that.
Hero.
Yeah, so that was like the second combo I wanted to get my value picks in, and then I decided I would get slightly less value, but I still think very value set of picks in. Also, I wanted to get water resists because I didn't have any.
Yes, so you got Tangler, your favorite Pokemon.
I don't think Tangler was legal. There were so few Pokemon with redirection that were legal, and I didn't want any of them. That said, I did recently endorse someone else getting Tangler, therefore I must like it. Or I'm just a bad friend. It's one of the two. So I got Sharpedo.
I mean, it could be both.
So Sharpedo is something I did recently advocate to a friend for getting, and I honestly think it's quite decent. It's got access to Speed Boost, which is pretty nice, as well as Icy Wind. So, you know, I picked another fast, frail speed control mod. Well, Latias isn't really frail, and Thunderous also isn't really frail. So I am just going to say that all of my Pokemon are basically tanky. This mod is both physical and special attack stat.
This is a
because I
bulky
didn't have any other mixed
game.
attackers besides Magma, which I had also just drafted. I don't know, I just thought this mod was alright. And this is Link of the previous combination, and he was like Leonardo da Vinci. The other right, which would be Wilbur, and Clark, whose surname I don't remember. Sorry, whose first name I don't remember. I only remember Meriwether Lewis. I'm googling in the other tab what Clark's first name was. William Clark. Well, that's a lot more boring. Also, I could just be wrong about which of the two they were, but I think he was Clark. They also made like earlier rap battles. I think that like the Red versus Link rap battle came out first. Did you ever watch the like Red versus Link? They used like Nerd versus Geek, Red versus Link, and the epic rap battle of manliness, where the two of them prove which of them is more manly and masculine.
No.
I think they wind up watching Real Housewives together at the end or something. It was very
I
powerful.
mean, that Real Housewives is some real shit. It takes a real man to be able to enjoy a good episode of Real Housewives. Real fucking Dawn.
Okay. I didn't realize they had to be named Don, but I guess that's why Wright was watching. After all, he had been Donatello. Yeah. I just think Sharpedo is neat. Also, it has Snarl, which is cool, because my other Snarl Pokemon is Lycanroc, and I don't think you often would prefer running Snarl on Lycanroc. I feel like it's generally going to have better
your
options.
speed tiers are so terrible.
What do you mean? I go for like, I have like such good integration of my speed tiers between Magma and Rabonbi. There's no real like big speed gap. Like the 95 to 110 speed gap isn't as much of a problem at level 50. And I'm working on the other one. Am I? Not really. God.
Oh well.
I don't think my speed tiers are
let's
actually that bad.
Go to your next Pokemon.
So this one,
This fix the speed tier gap.
will this fix the speed tier gap? I mean, it certainly helps. So here we have Filquish, which is helping flesh out my speed tiers more. Originally this was going to be Kabutops, which I guess, I don't know if you'd think that would be better or worse for my speed tiers at 70 base speed, but it would have been different.
Yeah, I think that's the answer.
So this is Timothy Delgado, who was also just like a popular YouTuber. I think he was in like a bunch of the YouTube Red shows back when YouTube Red was a thing, and they actually made them. And they were just like,
shit. YouTube Red. That's.
I have YouTube Premium, which is the same thing. It literally just carried on. It's pretty useful. But yeah, I watched like a couple of the shows, like the game showy ones. I say game showy. They were all like written with roles for the different YouTubers to play. And Timothy Delgado was in a couple of them. And he was also, I know he was Sun Tzu. I know he was Kim Jong-il.
And which one was Hulk Hogan?
Nice Peter. They re-released that with updated visuals.
Which one was Macho Man Randy Savage?
The Epic Lloyd.
That's depressing.
Why?
I don't know why. I just wanted it to be someone who wasn't the name too. I wanted it to actually be Macho Man Randy Savage.
I think he was fucking dead.
I don't think he was.
No,
When
he
it
wasn't.
Came out,
actually, no, there was like a thing because him and Kim Jong-il died at relatively similar times, and there was like, oh no, everyone who's in the battle's gonna die. But Hulk Hogan still has not passed.
Unfortunately, given his very racist remarks that have come out since then
You
as
just
well.
hate him because he used to be a VGC commentator, and you only respect singles.
Look, that is funny.
Yeah. Sorry, do you think... So here's a question. Here's just a question for context, right?
Please Google Hulk Hogan. Like, please look up Hulk Hogan as the VGC commentator.
That's pretty fun.
It's a listen. It's definitely a listen.
What is he? I think he mentions the body slam must be a powerful move.
Yeah.
Look, my main thoughts is that I suspect, I don't know for sure, but I suspect that Kim Jong-il has probably also said many racist things.
Yeah.
And I'm just gonna pretend like Randy Savage hasn't. So you know what, Koken?
He definitely hasn't.
So
He steps into Slim Jims. That's all I'm gonna say.
most of the stuff he says is just like advocating for drug usage, which means that he's a good role model. Oh yeah, brother.
Your vitamins, kids.
So yes, we have another very powerful entrant coming up next with
Oh yeah.
sorry.
We're doing this.
Yeah. So we have I think one of this mon is a mon that Keith made fun of me a bunch of for like mentioning, and then I mentioned like maybe once or twice. And that was because at the time that we had previously done the discussion where I mentioned a lot was when I was thinking about picking this mon. This is the last mon on the list that I had decided before I picked Thunderous. So it was Agron, Magma, Sharpedo, and Surfetch. That was super sure I wanted to get. What?
Guzzlord? Is it Guzzlord?
I don't have Guzzlord.
Damn, it's Surfetch. I was guessing Guzzlord.
What? Okay. It was already. I have Numlock on. That's why it's going to.
Oh.
So fetch it.
Well,
I think this mon is funny. It's really, 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 really ridiculously strong for no real reason, which is good.
it's a strong Pokemon.
It's a strong guy. It hits hard in his first impression, which is annoying for opposing teams. Something I realized about just when I was building for my last game is I didn't draw off the fake out mon, which I think is a downside.
I was gonna bring that up, that you have no fake out so
Yeah.
far, and
I don't pick any up. I think I had like a bunch of mons that I wanted that had fake out, and then they all got sniped.
you should
and then I just didn't replace it. What, sorry?
You should probably try to get a fake out.
I don't really know what I'd replace for it, to be honest. There's not really many cogent options. let alone coherent options. Sorry, not many coherent options, let alone cogent options. Yeah, I think that, so this is Deston Power, who, has he had 3 roles or just the 2? Classically, he was Mr. T in what was like the rap battle that got me to first start watching rap battles, and more recently he played Betrayed Shaka Zulu. He's also another one of those YouTubers that was on a bunch of,
Shaka Zulu was like, I remember that one, that wasn't recent, that was also 8 years ago.
So do you know why I said more recently? Because Mr. T versus Mr. Rogers was like 12. Oh, he was also Kanye West in Donald Trump versus Ebenezer Scrooge.
Well, there you go.
Alright, so yeah, he was in 3 battles. So one of them was in 2011, and the other was in 2015. 2015 is more recently than 2011. But yes, he was Kanye West in Trump vs. Scrooge, which I honestly had forgotten that he was in. And that was in 2013, so every 2 years until they didn't bring him back. I'm just kidding, they just haven't really done much. Have they even had, like, more than once? No, I think this Storm was pretty entertaining, though when I watched his own content, I don't think it was particularly entertaining. I think it's probably a good thing that they just don't have him just played like every single black character or something, like some other content creators making fairly, I think, dissimilar content to this do occasionally do, where they have like just one of a black guy character. Pain and suffering. I think EMB is too woke. That was the problem. EMB is too woke. Adam vs. Eve was just, you know, there was the breaking point. I think Surfetched is really strong. I think it's really cool. And that's why I picked it.
Yeah.
It's also like the crit rates are really funny because my team was otherwise annoyed by Intimidate, but having a high crit rate mon is like with what's it called? With Leak. I think Stick is the one that regular one uses, and Leak is the one that Ace uses.
Yeah, it's Leak. Yeah.
Getting a 50% crit rate.
It's the opposite. This uses Stick, I think.
Okay.
I think.
I've run the wrong one before and lost a game because of it. I'll try not to this time. Yeah, so I just think it's pretty solid. It doesn't offer much beyond helping hand support in terms of team support, but it's really strong.
Yeah, Leak is the one.
It's probably my first knock user. I used to have compute ops on the plan, you know. I wound up picking a Quillfish.
Instead, you can go show a different Pokemon you've got.
Yeah, so this mon is I wanted like an actual Trick Room setup because I didn't have one yet, and I picked Agron as like a Trick Room option, and Surfetched was technically also a Trick Room option. So there weren't many options left. I also wanted something that resisted electric because I had one electric resist, and that was bad. And ideally, like water resist was also nice, ground resist is also nice. So I wound up going with Pumpkaboo. Pumpkaboo was 5 points. It gets Trick Room. It gets what's it called? It gets Imprison, which is nice. It gets a few other funny support moves like Wisp, and it's decently strong. You can run all of the different forms. A big breaking point for why I went up going for this over what's it called? Over Trevenant. This Trevenant's 58 speed. Whereas if I go for Super Pumpkaboo, Pumpkaboo Super is not working in this format. Okay, I didn't know. But I think it's 41 base speed. So the big one shifts by like 15 speed, but this one shifts by 5 speed every form. So 41, having a 41 base speed option is pretty nice. It's not particularly strong, but at least it's going to be using Poltergeist and Woodhammer, which are high base power, which can make up for its lower move. Having high move quality makes up for lower damage output by its stats.
That makes sense.
And also this is named after KRNFX, who was... I don't remember the guy's name. He's from the Mythbusters. One of the Mythbuster B team, but I never watched Mythbusters while the B team was around. So I don't remember his name off the top of my head. He was Grant Imahara as part of the Mythbusters. Yeah, and he was also Lao Tzu in the Eastern Philosophers, where he did like a beatboxing, which was pretty good. He was very good. I actually think he's one of the better one of the best guests that ERB has had. I was really glad that he had come back. I remember at the time, because I was very involved in the fan community for ERB at the time, they were like, wow, this is the least the least expected comeback, because he was playing such a minor role in the previous panel. No, he's cool. I think he does like good music outside of this as well. I haven't listened to it recently, but I listened to it at the time. But pretty good. I think the Pumpkaboo will do wonders for this team. How do you feel about Pumpkaboo?
I mean, it's definitely an interesting choice. Does it have like different sizes?
I literally just explained how it did.
Well, look, I don't have ears. Yeah, no, it's an interesting. It's got pretty decent. Like, I think it's your only unevolved Pokemon. So it is
my only
going
EVL,
to have.
yeah.
So it doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't have any contests for EVL, which is pretty good.
Yeah.
It is it can set Trick Room and is immune to Fake Out. So it's actually like.
It's certainly not the worst Trick Room one, because with EVL it is also pretty tanky.
Exactly. So you know what? I like it personally.
Yeah, I think it's pretty good tech for this team. I was talking to a few people. I forget who first suggested Pumpkaboo. It might have been Steve at the time.
Minecraft Steve.
Yes, it was Minecraft Steve. Yeah. No, it would have been James then. Yeah, I think it was James. Or was this one I was talking about? No, I was talking about Pumpkaboo with James. Yeah, it was good. James gave a lot of helpful advice after I had been sniped on Executor, which is another one that I'd wanted. Because you know, the two of us are both staunch fans of Eggy Egg.
I'm the world's biggest Eggy fan, I think.
So he actually broke my legs so that he claimed to be the world's biggest Eggy fan. It was a harrowing endeavor. Oh, alright, so we come to the last one, the climax of the team. I had 9 points left and no ground type. So, what'd you guess? I got a ground type. There were very few ground types left, and this one is kind of mid, but it's okay on my team, I think. Flyjon.
Flyjon, yeah.
It's just kind of strong. Ground is important as a type to have. It's got a lot of decent resists because it's immune to 2 types, and then like also being able to take fire moves is pretty good, and rock moves is pretty good. This is actually named after one of the. I think he's now like officially a co-host of Epic Rap Battles of History. I know that he does a lot of support for it. So he's Zach Sherwin, also previously known as MC Mr. Napkins. And he's been in a lot of stuff over the seasons. So it was Albert Einstein in the classic Albert Einstein versus Stephen Hawking. He was Doc Brown in Doc Brown versus Doctor Who, which was not very good, but his part in it was. He was Sherlock Holmes in Batman versus Sherlock Holmes and Joe Watson, which Batman was also not very good, but Sherlock Holmes was. He was Scrooge in Trump versus Scrooge, which is just really a marvel for the ages. Stephen King in, I think, one of the most popular battles of all time, certainly in terms of how many like super fans it has. The Stephen King versus Edgar Allan Poe. It's really solid. He was Egon in the Ghostbusters versus Mythbusters, which was pretty good in that role. It was Voltaire in East versus West. So I think we've got all but one of the guests from East versus West to come back from a previous match. So that just leaves MC Jin. Walt Disney in the Stan Lee versus versus Jim Henson. I remember I was on so Nice Peter was on like a radio show, and I like called in, and he made fun of me for being in a hospital, so that I was not very close to my screen that I had the computer on, because it was on a hospital table, and I like had an IV in at the time, so I can put it super close to my face. And I asked if they were ever going to do Stan Lee against the guy from the Shigeru Miyamoto, and he's like, oh, the Nintendo guy. And they said no, and then they came out with Stan Lee versus Jim Henson. And obviously Walt Disney was in that.
Just to mess with you.
Just to mess with me. It was mostly to make fun of me
Yeah.
for being hospitalized at the time, you know. I had like a serious infection, I got surgery and everything, but you know. More recently,
sick children.
he was Alexander the Great in Alexander the Great versus Ivan the Terrible, which was a cavalcade battle in which he fucking died. Spoilers. He was Wayne Gretzky in what I think is probably one of the best battles that EOB has done, which is Wayne Gretzky against Tony Hawk. And most recently, he was in the last battle as John Wick. And you don't like that battle because you haven't watched it, and it references Soldier Boy to memory. I believe that was your main complaint with it.
Yeah, sure.
You're like referencing Soldier Boy in 2014, referencing Soldier Boy in 2021.
Anyway, so this is the team. Personally, I think it's okay. I think my big issue is no fake out. It's a bit of.
I have a super threat burst resist as well. But most of the ghosts
yeah, that was my second thing. Like I know a lot of the ghosts aren't legal, and also to be honest, this is a very weird format. Like in terms of what mods are and aren't available.
Very true.
Maybe it's not like I could just list a lot of flaws, but it's like maybe there's like 5 fake out ones in the format.
Nope,
Probably isn't that many. But like there might not be any good ghosts in the format. I don't know. But yeah,
I think
really
one of the best ghosts in the format. Clearly, everyone understands the best ghost in the format is Pumpkaboo. All right, so if we look at the other teams in my in my conference, I have to play against. One of them, first one I look at, does not have a ghost. Alolan Marowak. That mod is going to be terrifying, but at least my ghost resist has a good matchup into it, and I can just not run items if they run Poltergeist.
Sure.
Next team does not have a ghost type unless I am blind, which I could be. One of them is Mimikyu. That's my week 1 matchup. It's got its upsides and its downsides as a mon in its matchup into my team. One of them, no ghost type unless I am blind. Sableye, which I don't think I'm super worried about Sableye as a ghost type as much as I'm worried about it as a prankster Pokemon and as a foul playist. And then Cofagrigus, which it's a bit annoying. It's a bit annoying. But I think I can deal with it. So I don't think I'm too worried about the ghost matchup. I think I'm more worried about the lack of fake out.
Well, yeah. And
having a lack of fake out and a bad ghost matchup is like committing to losing to both sides of the, I'll just use fake out to stop them from working, which loses to ghosts, or I'll just not respect the ghosts. Oh, sorry, I'll just be good against ghosts and then, deal with teams that are trying to play around fake out. If we look at like fake out options, there's Crafty at 15, which is a lot of points. It's a very large commitment to go for. There's Hitmonlee at 9, which I'd have to trade multiple mons for to get Sirfetch'd into Hitmonlee, because I only have 1 spare point, as you can see. Quality-wise, I'm honestly not seeing a lot of other available fake-out mons. Like, I'm looking at 6 points now, and there were none. There have been 2 above 6.
We're probably gonna have to roll this up because I need to go to sleep.
Alright. Yeah, there's Grookey in 5 if I also want terrain, but I don't have an unburdened list. But it is technically an option. I could change Agron to Grookey if I hated having steel types. I don't know, I think that not having fake out is just kind of a consequence of the format. There's also Litten in 5, which is probably better than Grookey, to be honest with you. I don't know, it's okay. There's not a lot of great fake out mods, which is probably why once mine was sniped, I didn't notice that I didn't have any and didn't wind up picking one up because none of them stood out as being particularly appetizing. There really are not a lot of good fake out options. They're all just NFAs or those 2 fighting types that would have to restructure my team a decent bit to get on.
Or NFTs.
Yep, nice fighting types. That's what NFT stands for.
Yep.
Ultimately, I think the Intelligent Leon will probably do okay this season. I think it's one of the weaker teams in the league, but I can power through it for just being cool or something. I will be bringing up a evaluation thing like I did back in the BDSP season. I'm forgetting what it's called. The alignment chart will be coming out with that, and so stay excited, stay keen if you're in the VBL, and if you're not in the VBL, I'd recommend coming, joining, checking us out, It's a really fun league, a lot of fun folks, and there's a lot of content coming out for it. It's one of the best places, I think, to learn about VGC Draft as a format. Do you have any closing remarks, my friend?
No, I need to go to bed.
Okay.
Good night.
Sleep well.